cannot show up, they cannot, feel that they can speak up. They're being bullied, their voices are not being heard, what they're saying is not jiving. And so what I'd like to do is I'd like to give you 3 different scenarios. The last scenario is my wife. My wife is from northeastern China, and when she completed high school, she had a sight set on going for finance and accounting because she liked numbers, she liked facts and figures, and she claims that she doesn't make a mistake, and that's great, and she's doing that. However, she says that, and then she looks at me, and she goes, never make a mistake. Oh. So, let's start with Susan, shall we? Susan was looking for a job. She looked at the website. She found this perfect role. And when she did that, wow, this is great that this organization has social responsibility. What they do is that they take some of their profits and they support charities. She looked at the values this organization had, the values of respect, the values of integrity, the values of safety, and she thought, this is aligning with my story. So she applied and she got selected for the interview. In the interview room, they had posters on the wall with all their values plastered. She got the job. Over the training period, it seems a little off here. Is it my lens, or is my lens turned right? And as she completed the training, she noticed that there were gaps in the training. And she noticed that, she was told that she was going to get this shift, but there was a split shift, and she was trying to work it out so that, with her kids, she was a single mother. And with all of that, as time went on, the management started getting rumors that union were interested in coming in. So they hired an organizational development facilitator to go and hold these raise the bar sessions, showing how great we are to travel across the country and speak to the employees. At one of these, Susan put her hand up. She talked about the lack of training, the lack of safety, and as she went on to speak, there were supervisors in the room, and she noticed that they were looking quite sternly, and she just put that in the back of her mind. Returning to work, she noticed that, yes, indeed, there was increased micromanagement. There was increased lack of communication. There was increased, not providing the support. And over time, she developed anxiety. And with the anxiety, she developed IBS. And so she'd be going to the bathroom, coming out, the supervisor, Susan in the bathroom again. And so that was the situation with her. Next, I'd like to talk about Fayaz. Fayaz was shortlisted, he was headhunted, he was in Ontario. And he accepted this position. It was in a different province. And they wanted him really fast. It was for a not-for-profit organization. Fayaz accepted the position, came there, and within a week, he was noticing that his depression and anxiety had started to escalate again. While in Ontario, he had the help that he needed. However, moving to a different province, that was not available for him. So he went and spoke to his manager, and what she said, oh, don't worry about it. It will pass. It's just because you moved to a new city, everything will be fine. And as the months developed, over the 3 months, he started coming to work late because he used to take the medication to help him to sleep. And if he ticketed so late, he would not wake up in the morning. One day, after the 3 months, they were supposed to go to a conference, and the conference was in a different city. And he just got in time to get in the car. And he noticed that there was something not quite, kosher that was happening. They got to the conference, and he noticed the silent treatment. At the end of that first day of the conference, they totally shunned him. And while everybody was socializing, they would go into their own little space, and he wasn't open to connect. Later, he found out that they had labeled him as an alcoholic. So, now I come to Tracy. Tracy's a nurse. As I've said, she loves data, facts, and figures, and she's very good at finances. She gives me $1, and I do have a Starbucks habit. I get their chai, and I'm thinking, okay, so every day I collect these dollars. I have to break the piggy bank to finally go for a chai conversation. Anyways, so at work, as the nurse on charge, she gets to look at the files and she notices errors. Now these errors are tiny and minute, but if you compound them, they will really impact the patient's safety. So she talks to the clinician, and the clinician just waves her away. The next time she was back on the front desk as a staff nurse, she looked at the charts and noted more errors, so she completed more chart notes and decided that she would now email the clinician. And the clinician looked at her and said, "Do you not know what I do?" So Tracy was like, oh. So now 3 different stories, 3 different outcomes. And what do you think happened to Susan, Fayaz, and Tracy? Well, with Susan, her disability continued. The anxiety built up that she had to go on short-term disability. From the short-term disability, it went into long-term disability. And she has been laid off. As a single mother, she does not know where to turn to. Fayaz, 2 weeks after the conference, he was pulled in the ED's office. And he was laid off without cause. He then went and got some help through psychiatric counseling. He was able to connect with a lawyer and found out that indeed it was a human rights violation. So what he has done is part of his settlement. He wanted the organization to go through sensitivity training. So the lawyer contacted him. Yes, the organization went through sensitivity training. He also wanted an apology. That did not happen. And they did settle close to his asking amount. So then we move to Tracy. Now Tracy loves to make sure that she's checked off things. She makes lists, and from those lists she makes other lists, and I'm going, oh my gosh. I'm more of a fly type of moment. So opposites attract, right? I think. Anyways, so she spoke to the clinician again and said that this is unacceptable. She flexed her communication boundaries. She went and spoke to the manager and asked that if she could have a list that was put in front of the chart, that this chart was verified by another nurse. What did happen was, yes, there was conflict between the clinician and Tracy. However, they decided that, yes, they needed some conflict resolution to happen, and now they're civil because they work together. Now, do you think this happens just in not-for-profit organizations, in factory settings, in workplaces, in schools, and all of that? Not so. It happens in faith organizations too. This is my younger son, Khalid. This happened a week and a half ago, actually. Here, He's in a navy blazer. This is his volunteer uniform, white shirt with a gray striped tie. And he had just finished volunteering, and he was hanging out in the back room. It's the kitchen where all the meals hang out. And the captain, now the captain is the leader of all the volunteers, the junior volunteers as well as the senior volunteers, comes in, removes his jacket, removes his white shirt, and they have a green and red striped tie. And Khalik looks at him and says, "What are you doing?" And this guy had a very nice t-shirt underneath. And he said, "Well, I'm going to the bar, and I'm going to be going with your dad, and we're going to meet his new girlfriend." So Khalik must have looked at him, and then he said, "She's going to be your new mother." Now, how I found out about this was this guy came and told me, and I looked at him and said, "What are you doing?" You know, he is 8 years old. And so I said, "You need to go talk." So 5 minutes later, sorry, 1 second. He comes back out. Khalik was also walking by. And I said, "Did you have a chat?" So I turned to Khalik and I said, "What happened?" in my language. And Khalik goes, "I don't know." And this time, this captain says, "He's a bad boy." I was flabbergasted. I said, "No, he's a good boy." He said, "He was running around in mosque." And I said, "Well, he is 8 years old. He is a boy." And so this was not going anywhere. And I could see Khalik's eyes were just getting wider, and there was some sort of panic kind of feeling that was setting in. And I said, "Do you mind if I have a little talk?" Because I needed to lay down the boundaries. So I asked him to sit next to me on the side where there was nobody, and he wouldn't sit. He decided to stand like a bully and stood over me. And I said, "Do you mind if you sit?" And I kept on repeating the message until he finally sat down. What happened was he was not willing to listen. The first things out of his mouth were, "I am the captain." And I knew that I was not able to communicate with this gentleman, with this individual, and I decided to escalate it. And I've spoken to the leaders, and we're going to have a meeting. So I decided to ask for help. Now, in organizations, where are some of these changes happening? Where are they able to move the needle? So let's look at the example of Tony McGrath and what he shared. And what he shared is we have a culture of having, opening up our doors. We have a culture which is called welcome, which is not writing this down with policies and procedures. What it is saying that yes, come in as you are. We're welcoming all, and what they've done is they've opened their doors to the Black Radish Theatre Group. They've opened their doors to the Tree 7, showing that all Albertans are welcome there. And the other thing that Tony has done is that he is showing that, you know what, I make mistakes. I am open to say that, yes, I do not know it all. He said that he shares this so that I know what I need to do. But my staff, they're hired here because they know what to do. So how am I going to say that this is the right way? How am I going to show that, I need to open up to courage? And when you open up to courage, that's where that belief comes in. And the belief that you have the right people, that they have the potential. And when you do that, when you have those right belief and recognizing in your people, you then have the purpose. And in the center of this Venn diagram comes the vulnerability piece, where you're saying that, we are opening our doors. We are all in this together. Not all of us have the answers, and we all have had issues with mental health, with mental illness. We either have it with us or We know somebody in our families, within our workspaces, within our community, within our religious organizations, and the community at large. And that's what Connie does, it says, this is where we can move that needle. So in that vulnerability piece, it takes courage. It takes courage to brave the wilderness. It takes courage to show up and stand up. It takes courage to face the people and say, you know what? I'm here overcoming the fear. I am here because I believe there is the belief in people and there is a purpose there. And that's where the safety piece comes in. Because when our people are heard, they feel safe. Now, is it only leaders that have to show this? All of us have a voice. But when we feel safe, that is when we're able to have trust. And with trust comes the impact. It comes the action. That's where we can stand up and feel that our voices are being heard. That is when we can stand up, we can show up and feel that we are being heard. Thank you.